StormWatch number 16, written by Peter Milligan, art by Will Conrad, Eduardo Pansica, and Julio Ferreira. So, last issue had Midnighter framed for committing a murder of a bunch of scientists in the Arctic. And Harry Tanner's a Shadow Lord, kinda. So, this issue picks up, narrated by Harry, and he's just like, yeah, I fought Midnighter once, and I realized he's pretty much the only person who could ruin my plan here, because he, A, could outskill me, and B, could recognize me. So I have to make sure I've got him playing defense. And him and Engineer flying through the Arctic, just looking for Midnighter, trying to figure out where he is. And they can't get in contact with Apollo, and Harry's like, okay, why? Where's Apollo? Why'd he go offline? And Engineer's like, dude, chill. I think he's just not saying much right now, as we see him just blasting energy into the ice of the Arctic. So then we go back to HQ, and Jack Hawksmoor's doing his own thing. I don't think it even matters. And Jenny, who has recently arrived in Antarctica, she comes across a wormhole opening up near her, and she's like, oh, that's weird. Let me see if I can peek inside using my powers. And she does, and she sees some mystery figure inside, which we'll get to. So at that point, Emma has tried to escape from Midnighter. She's just out walking in the middle of the Arctic and just like, hey, StormWatch, if you can hear me, I'm away from Midnighter. Please come help me. But then Midnighter shows up and just like, dude, why weren't you believing me about these implanted memories that you have? And she's like, because they weren't implanted. I watched you. And she's like, that's what the implanted part means. Why don't you get this? But at that point, Apollo shows up and just starts wrecking Midnighter, like tearing apart his outfit and like just beating the crap out of him. And he's just trying to explain like, oh my God, they were implanted memories. Why is nobody believing me on that? And Apollo's just like, you caused me emotional pain. I'm going to have to give it to you tenfold physically. So, about to kill him. Then we cut back to Engineer and Harry Tanner. And basically, Engineer is like, so, those people Midnighter killed. It's really convenient that he did that when you're looking for a reason to give him a death warrant, right? And Harry's like, I'm a Shadow Lord. I don't need a reason to do this stuff. And then Engineer goes into her memory banks and finds a place where Harry, after they spent the night together, she was like, hey, where are you going at such a late hour? Why are you leaving? And he's just like, I don't need a reason to do what I want to do. And she compared the voice lines together and she's like, okay, all right. Well, I'm going to erase that memory. That needs to go immediately. So she erases that. And then finally, Harry gets in contact with Apollo. Apollo's like, oh, hey, good of you to call. I'm literally about to kill him right now. And Harry's like, hold on. I need to see him dead. Bring him up to HQ. So they go back up. Harry does this whole monologue of like, you were a traitor, and in the long days of StormWatch, Demon Knights, yada, yada, yada. And he is about to exile him to death or whatever. And then Apollo jumps in the way. And Harry's like, dude, why? And he's like, I understand he needs to die, but I really want to do this myself. And Harry's like, fine, whatever, as long as I'm here to see it, let's go for it. And right before any of that happens, Jenny jumps in. She just teleports in and it's just like, hey, turns out I don't need the teleporters anymore. I can just do that myself. By the way, found a wormhole, reached inside, found a dude. His name is the Fox, and he's saying that Harry Tanner used him to open up some weird Shadow Lord thing and become the Shadow Lord. So, naughty, Mr. Tanner. And he's just like, dude, I'm not Harry. We already covered this. And then Engineer pipes up, I remembered some stuff, which I don't know why she said she erased the memories before, because she clearly didn't. But regardless, she says like, yeah, no, it was definitely Harry. So then Harry stops looking like a Shadow Lord. Apollo's about to apologize to Midnighter, and he's like, I swear to God, if you apologize, I will beat you myself. And yeah, so Harry's just on the offensive now. He's going after Apollo. Apollo just blasts him back, no problem. And he grabs Harry by the head, and he's just like, oh yeah, you did all this. You made me believe this or whatever. And Engineer chimes in like, oh, and I'm assuming you faked Emma's memories, right? And Harry's like, yes, Yes to all the above. I did all these things. And as Apollo's about to just punch his lights out, Engineer attacks Apollo and takes him out, and then goes after Jenny, knocks her out too. And apparently, Engineer has come to the conclusion that she has reached a plateau in terms of how much power and skill she could have. And in order to further her abilities, she's going to join Harry's side and turn StormWatch into the much more proactive version that Harry wants it to be. So Midnighter grabs Apollo. They both make it to an escape hatch. Harry goes to attack him. Midnighter knocks his clock out. And they just go out into hyperspace, into the bleed. And Engineer's like, do you want me to kill him? And it's like, nah, they won't last like 30 seconds out there. So Apollo's out cold. Midnighter's trying to wake him, and they're out in the middle of space. Not just any space. Hyperspace. I mean, this was a fast wrap-up. I like it. I'm not going to say I don't like it. I do think that it covered everything it needed to cover, but I didn't expect to get all the answers just like boom, 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 done. Of course, it led to its own twists. Engineer is now evil, quote-unquote, or at least different. As I think they've been hinting for quite some time, that ever since Engineer ran into the, whatever those Cro-Magnon things were, she's been acting a little bit weird because of her evolutionary stuff. So this was all very well set up. This is all very well executed. The only thing that feels a little bit of a Deus Ex Machina is Jenny just happens across a wormhole that happens to hold the fox that just happens to take down Harry. Like, it seemed weird. It seemed a bit strange to me that's like, oh, okay, sure, why not? But I guess all of Jenny's powers at this point are pretty much Deus Ex Machina, so whatever. Overall, I'm going to give this one a 7. Just feels like a nice, even issue. No real issues, but nothing that's really super standout either. Yeah, no, it's just a fine issue. And we'll see how it continues on next time.